everyone. I am Danica from Publish Drive. And with me today is Marc Reklau. He is an international best-selling author and Publish Drive customer. So we're really happy to have him today. We're going to be talking a lot about success and how you as authors can also reach success. So very, very happy to have him here today. Just to introduce him a little bit, Marc Reklau is the author of 13 books, including the international bestsellers 30 Days, Change Your Habits, Change Your Life, Love Yourself First, and How to Be a People Magnet. His books have reached more than 1 million readers and have been translated into more than 15 languages, including Spanish, German, Japanese, Thai, Indonesian, Chinese, Portuguese, Russian, and Korean. He wrote his first book, 30 Days, in 2014 after being fired from his job and literally went from jobless to Amazon bestseller, which is the title of his second book. Marc's mission is to empower people to create the life they want and to give them the resources and tools to make it happen. His message is simple. Many people want to change things in their lives, but few are willing to do a simple set of exercises constantly over a period of time. You can plan and create success and happiness in your life by installing habits that support you on the way to your goals. Marc is also a satisfied Publish Drive customer, and he's been taking advantage of our tools to make his publishing journey simple and more effective. So very, very, like I said, very excited to have Marc here today. As you can see, he is really got some great things to say. Very happy to have all the people coming in today. And so to begin, I would love to hear from Marc a little bit about his journey from unpublished to best-selling author.
Okay, thanks for having me. I'm super happy to be here too. The second time, this time with a red shirt. Some hours have passed. It's now past my bedtime, but I'm still in shape. So let me tell you about that story. Well, it's a long story. It was the journey was not easy, but with patience we can get there in the end. So for me, it started all in 2013. I got fired from my job, and I decided not to go back into the corporate life. So I had savings. For 2 years, I had done a life coaching training. So I really said, okay, in 2 years, working every day, 8 hours, I should be able to convert this into a business or whatever. So I wanted to start a coaching business. And then already in 2013, at the end of 2013, I had this thought of writing a book. First of all, because in my coaching training, I discovered lots of great exercises that really work if you do them, and many successful people do them, but many people don't know about them, and even worse, sometimes they know about them and they don't do them. So I was jobless, so I didn't have my world's greatest excuse, which is I don't have time. I actually had time to do all this stuff, so I started practicing gratitude. For the first time in my life, I wrote down my goals, like 10-year goals, 5-year goals, 1-year goals. And I just started to work on myself as a person, on my personal development, doing all these exercises, also like affirmations or taking walks, reading a lot. I read a lot, like 2 hours a day, and putting these things into action. And then it also came to my mind in the same time. So I want to write a book about this, to distinguish myself from other coaches, because there were many coaches, not so many coaches with a book. And then this idea grew. And in April of 2014, I started writing. Well, first I planned for 2 days. I planned, what do I want to write about for 2 days? And then I started writing. I started developing chapters. Which chapters do I want to write? And then I just started writing 2,000 words a day, or from 6 to 9, whatever I reach before. And of course, I also did a lot of research. So sometimes I just wrote 1,000 words, and then I did 2 hours of research. But these 3 hours every day was reserved for writing. Sometimes I even did a little bit more. And like that, pretty quickly. I think my draft was finished after a month or 6 weeks. Turned it into the editor. On the 30th of June, I was done. I remember that because I announced on Facebook, to put a little bit of pressure on myself, that I will be done on that I will publish on the 30th of June. But then with time, I noticed, no, 30th of June for me is not a good time to publish, because then July comes in August, and at that time I thought that July and August are not good times to sell new or to publish books, and so I pushed it to the end of August, and that's when I published the book. I thought, now with data and with all the experience, I think that you can publish a book anytime, and July, August are actually very good times to sell. I always sell a lot in July and August compared to the rest. So it's like July, August, and then again December, January are like super sales month, and everything in between is like okay. So, but we were talking about the journey. So the journey was that. So I had published the book, and then I didn't sell a lot of books, because then I noticed that writing a book is one thing, but a really different animal is selling books, and that's actually what we all, or most of us, wanted to do. I wanted to sell many books, but so in the first half years, I only sold 200 ebooks. And in January 2015, I only sold 8 ebooks in the whole month. So that was one of these many moments I had also in the last 9 years, where I really thought maybe I should just give up. Maybe I should look for another job. But then I always said, one more time, try one more time. This is one of my favorite quotes from Edison. He says, the best way to succeed is always to try one more time. So for me, in the last 9 years, I think it was like 20 times one more time. And then I tried one more time. I got a BookBub deal and had 40,000 free downloads in 3 days. And that afterwards converted to, when it converted to paid, converted to, let's say, between 1,600 books a day I sold, and was living happily for 2 or 3 months. And then I got another BookBub deal and another one. So things were starting out very well. It was the first time I was living off my books. I also found out that living on one book is very difficult. So I started writing the next one. And that was my start. I became an Amazon bestselling author, which is pretty nice for marketing. But nowadays, we also know that you can be an Amazon bestselling author and pretty poor, depending on the pricing and the category you are in. So this was not a long-term model, but that was the start. And about the rest, I tell you a little bit later.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's really great, because, we talk about you and your great success, and I think that it's so important for our audience and for anyone watching to realize that it isn't easy at first. I think a lot of people think you just put a book up there and boom, you're a success. And so I really love hearing your story about how it wasn't instantaneous success. It took a lot of work, and it was a journey to get there. So I love that you shared that with us. And that brings me to my next question. What were some of the biggest challenges you encountered in your early writing career, and how did you overcome them?
The biggest challenges were always like rejection, fear of failure. That selling the books, actually, right? So that was the thing. Belief. You need belief in yourself. You need belief in your books. Even if you don't get the feedback, I'm lucky. I don't need external feedback. I'm pretty, I'm self-reflecting pretty much. And I didn't think I wrote a super duper book that will sell many copies, but I noticed something is coming, because I got good feedback. And then it's just a matter of patience, what I said before, and just hanging in there. And my story is really, if you would put here some more authors that now make a living with books, the stories sound extremely and astonishingly similar. So I had the luck that my first book then took off, but then also it went down again. And then I was struggling, and then other books took off. So it is, when we had the idea, when I was talking to the Publish Drive team, and I really said, I really would like to communicate this to authors, to aspiring authors to new authors, have patience.
Yeah.
For me, it has been now 9 years. Last 3 years were amazing, 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 amazing. But 5, 6 years before were a struggle. And you just have to write more and have patience and start believing. I know people that when they don't sell in one niche, they even think about writing in other niches. So it's really a little bit, it's also business. It's not just
Right.
art. Yeah, you need a little bit of business mindset. But the most important thing is patience, perseverance, and belief.
Yeah,
Because
I love that. I love
if you
that.
don't believe in yourself, you cannot expect of other people to believe in yourself. But if you believe in yourself, the rest doesn't matter, because
Right.
you will go as far as you have to go and you will do the changes you have to do, and you will make it at the end. But you have to find this belief in yourself in your book, and be
Yeah.
open to feedback, but at the end it's your thing. So for me, it's always, which is also astonishing, I've been never criticized by a writer that sells more than me, and I know many.
Really, that's great.
Never.
Yeah.
I know the best of the best, and they don't giving me tips on how to improve or whatever. Usually the feedback comes, of course, from readers, which is appreciated, or from writers that haven't reached as much and say, oh, I don't understand, you must be very lucky or something. I don't understand how a book like yours sells so many copies. I said, yeah, well,
Wow, that's
maybe you should.
interesting.
Yeah. So that's funny. So I'm also, I'm open to feedback, but just to a certain point. At the end, I make the decisions.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if you listen to everybody, I think 17 persons have told me to change my covers. 72 persons have told me I have to go through read edits. If I would listen to all of them, I wouldn't sell, and my
Right.
book would become a mess. At the end, it's my book.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I think that's so powerful and a great reminder that at the end of the day, this is your book and this is your product. And you need to, as you said, believe in yourself and believe in your book so that you can be successful. So
And
your
it's not
book,
easy. I wanted to say it's not easy. It was a long and struggling journey. And I told you this afternoon that I was even ridiculed in front of my face by publishers who told me, oh, you're self-published, you can't be a good writer. And then thank God I already had sold 10,000 books. And then I told her, how many of your authors have sold 10,000 books? And then there was silence because she didn't have any author. But she still said, my book can be very
I
good.
love that.
So those are the little things. You need to be convinced also of yourself without being cocky, but also don't let people like bullshit you, like to say, pardon my French, Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. So my next question, your book, 30 Days, Change Your Habits, Change Your Life, has been a huge success. Could you share with us the inspiration behind this book and how you approached the writing process for that?
Yeah. The inspiration behind that book was that what I told you in the beginning, that I knew there are exercises that work, but self-help readers, I was an avid self-help reader, and I also never did the exercises because many times the chapters were so long that when I came to the end of the chapter and the author says, now do this and this, write down your goals, I said, I can't. I'm totally exhausted after reading the chapter. I cannot, my head is exploding. I can't. And sometimes books were written with such a language, like not an easy language, like very complicated. Maybe the author wanted to show how intelligent they are, but it also exhausted me. So I wanted to write a book with short chapters, leading my reader quickly to the action steps, because that's the thing that counts. Reading is not enough. You have to do the action steps. And then it was also in that time, 2013, 2014 was still the end of the big crisis, which in the US happened in 2008, and in Spain it was until 2013. It was horrible. And the everyday supermarket talk that I listened to was like, how is life? Our life is shit, but if I win the lottery this Friday, then everything would be okay. And then I was thinking, oh my God, people, if instead of waiting to win the lottery, you would write down 3 things you are grateful for every day, or you would write down your goals, or you would work 1 hour or half an hour a day of something you love, a hobby or something, you could maybe become much more successful instead of just waiting to win the lottery. And that was also influenced me in writing that book. And the working title was actually 101 Things You Can Do While You're Waiting to Win the Lottery.
I love that. I loved that this morning. That was one of my favorite takeaways from this morning session. So I still have that in my head. Like,
maybe I should
what to
write
do when
another
you're
book.
waiting.
Yeah, because I don't know how if it's in the US, but there's in Spain. I mean, Spain is one of the countries that most money is spent on per capita on lotteries, and it was just everywhere this. And I thought, my God, if you would just do something, as we talked in the afternoon, on your morning, if you do something every day, you get good at it.
Yeah.
There's no other thing. If you cook every day, in 2 or 3 years, you will be a fantastic cook. If you run every day, you will be in top shape in 3 years. And so is the mental exercises or the exercises about gratitude, about goal setting, about organizing yourself is the same. You become better and better.
Yeah. So I didn't prepare you for this question, but all your talking today has made me think, what is one of those habits that our writer friends listening now, what's one of them that they can do while they are waiting to be successful as an author?
Patience. That's a habit. They can practice their patience.
Okay.
They should do goal setting, even if so I set a goal to sell 50,000 books in a year when I was very far away from that, when I had maybe sold 3,000 or 4,000. But the year came. Maybe I said I want to sell this in 2015 and it came in 2016, but it comes. So it's not a matter of time.
Right.
Or it's not a matter of reaching the goal. It's a matter of when. And that is fantastic. And then, of course, it has nothing to do with writing, but the practice of gratitude would be always my number one suggestion for everybody, because it multiplies everything. It improves everything. So practicing gratitude is as easy as every day writing down 3 things you are grateful for. So I'm grateful to be here today. I'm grateful for my Mac computer that makes the connection. I'm grateful for my internet. I'm grateful for my mother, for my partner, Natalia. I'm great. So look, I already said 5 things, and you only have to do 3 things every day. If you do that every day, and you do it like when you write down the gratitudes, you do it, you feel the gratitude. It's not just like a routine thing. No, you write it down and you feel the gratitude. It will make amazing things in your brain. It will reprogram your brain to see the good in the world. There's lots of scientific data that really says it makes you less prone to depression, makes you sleep better, makes you happier, makes you see more opportunities, makes you more social. So that's are all characteristics that improve our life. So why not doing it? So it has nothing to do with writing. But I have to tell you, when I took off, it was also the more grateful I became, the better things became. That's why I'm always talking now about gratitude, even if in a webinar about writing, where you would think, what is this guy? If somebody just tune in, they say, why is he talking about gratitude? Because it's super important and because it will improve your life.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. That was one of the things that when you were talking at SPS in London, I really related to that, because I also have a very intense gratitude practice for that same reason. And I feel like the days when I am really focused on gratitude, I'm a better writer and my writing productivity is better and what comes out of me is better. So
Absolutely,
personally, I think that's an amazing tip for writers. And I hope that everyone listening takes that to heart, because it really is life-changing.
Yeah, if they take one thing away from today, they should take this one away, because this will it's incredibly simple and very powerful. And one might think it can't be that easy. It can't be that easy. But I can tell you, I'm practicing gratitude since 10 years, and it is that easy, and it makes everything better. And it doesn't mean that I'm never sad or whatever. I still have, because life is ups and downs, right? But it helps you to snap out quicker of the sad moments, to deal with them better, and to get to it. It helps your base level of happiness to rise. And
Right. And that goes along really nicely with my next question, which we kind of have already answered, that you often emphasize the importance of positive habits and mindset in your work. How do these impact your writing process and the writing that you do?
so the mindset is everything, and it's not only impacting your writing, it's impacting your life, right? It's
Yeah.
Positive mindset is also proven to be a benefit, because it just helps you to deal better also with the low blows and the bad things that happen sometimes. So the mindset has a positive mindset will always help you. It will also help you to bring out better stuff and to be more productive. And then it's also a thing how, life happens, and how do you deal with what happens to you. So some smart person has once said, so life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you deal with it. And I think that's exactly true. And that's mindset. So bad things happen, we said. So will I let it bring me down, or will I use it as fuel to thrive? And you can practice that also, So unfortunately, all of us surely have many negative situations in our lives. And I'm not a big fan of them. I like the happy, nicey things, but I have to tell you honestly, the situations that shaped me and made me the person I am today were the negative stuff. And often how I deal with it is also, so I make a list, a timeline. I take a paper and I make a line, and then I write down all the negative stuff that happened to me, right? So a girlfriend left me when I was 16 or divorced, and then father died when I was 18. So that you write below the timeline. And then above the timeline, you write what positive come out of it. And it's amazing. Sometimes you have to think a little bit about, for example, divorced, but now I have a fantastic partner, Natalia. My father died when I was young, 19. Horrible. Positive, that I learned and swore to myself to live my life full, to take full responsibility to my life, and to make something out of my life, whatever that will be. I didn't know back then, but I said it will only positively influence me, and it did, And like, you can find something to everything. So, like we said last year, Amazon closed my account accidentally, which made me move then later on to Publish Drive, and it was horrible. But I took decisions. I took various decisions. I said, okay, I will better earn less, but sleep better. And I turned off all my ads, and then turned off only the 10% best. And the result is that nowadays I'm spending a lot less on ads, and net I'm making the same money. So financially, it has been a blessing for me. Although for 2 days it was absolute chaos and like taking away everything from me that I had, because I was how you say, exclusive with Amazon. So I learned from it. And nowadays I have to say blessing, but I'm talk to the people at Amazon. I'm getting along with them very well. And I told them, please don't do it again. Even if it was very positive for me, I don't want this very often in my life, because it sucks when it happens. But then later it's up to you what you make out of it. And that's mindset. And that's for writers and for non-writers. And for writers, it's just how do you deal? You can have a bad day, no problem. You can even write something and then erase half, and you come back tomorrow and you sit down again and you start writing again. You don't let yourself down, and that's mindset. And
absolutely.
You don't give up. That's what I want to. Never. That's what I'm a big advocate of it, because if I had the slide, that I showed in London, when you could see how long it was a flat line before it was taking off. It was over 5 years. And if I could mark you there every time when I was this close to giving up, it would be mind-boggling.
Right. Like if you had given up that month before your book went like this, we wouldn't be here today.
And I always say it when I talk to authors, you don't know where you are right now. You could be in January 2015 for me, when I only sold 8 ebooks, or you could be on the 30th of March when on the 31st of March of 2015, you have 40,000 free downloads. So you don't want to give up. And in London, I mentioned this story, which kept me going also, which is, so there's this story, I think it's in Think and Grow Rich, where there's a guy and he has a claim and there's gold there. And then he buys all his shovels and stuff and starts digging and digging and digging. And for 1 year, and he doesn't find gold. And then he gives up, sells all his stuff to another guy. And the other guy comes, digs half a meter and finds gold. All right. And I always said, I don't want to be the first guy. I don't want to be, who knows how close am I to gold? And now I don't give up. Of course, you have to question yourself. That's also important. It's also a good mindset. Question yourself, stop, think, where am I? Where do I want to go? Am I going in the right direction? Because if you're not going into the right direction, no matter how hard you work and how motivated you are, you're not going to get where you have to get. So you have to do the reflection, but mostly if you follow your gut, you will be pretty right. And then it's just a matter of writing more and taking chances and learning advertising and doing promos.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you do personally, but then also what do you recommend to the people who are watching this? How do you handle that self-doubt and that fear of failure? Like, what are some tips you have for people facing that and facing those rejections?
You accept it and you face it. Exactly. So self-doubt, I'm pretty happy I don't have a lot of self-doubt because my mother is great. He always told me when I have self-doubt, I ask my mom, and then she says, Mark, you always did great. Why should you not do this time great? And then the other thing is, so failure, that's a fantastic thing because I was afraid of failure for 40 years. And I didn't do things, and I didn't fail because I didn't do things, and nothing happened in my life. And in the last 10 years, I failed more than any in the 40 years before. And it has been the best 10 years of my life so far. And I think there's a causal connection. Yeah, there is.
I love that. I really love that. You know, I've failed more in the past 10 years of my life, and these have been the best 10 years of my life.
Yes, because you have to try it. You have to try it. It's better to try it and fail than not try it.
Yeah,
so I try everything. I try and fail, try and fail, try and fail. And the good thing is you get better at failing and it hurts less every time. It still hurts. So rejection, failure, it still hurts me, but not as much as 10 years ago. And then on the way you build something. So, you know, if somebody now today says your book is shit, that hurts. But on the other hand, I have 800,000 sold books who say, no, it's not shit. So yeah, like then I look at this and say, okay, maybe, you know, if it would be so shit, I would be working somewhere now. So it's pretty okay. So you learn, and failure is really, you, as I said, rather try and fail than not try at all. You always have to know. So always ask for opportunities, and then you can get no's. For example, today somebody sees me and now they will write to me and say, Mark, please promote my book. No, I don't know you. I probably won't promote your book because I only promote books of friends that I have known for a long time. But that's okay, because then there's another thing, because it happened to me. Nobody wanted. So at the beginning, you are pretty much alone. And there's another thing. Be so good they can't ignore you.
I like that.
So good they can't ignore you. So many podcasts and literary agents that rejected me 4 or 5 years ago, now I have been on those podcasts. Why? Because I did something, because I sold a lot of books. I kept on working. I wrote more books. So then you become so good, and then they don't ignore you anymore.
Right. Yeah.
And if you write to me tomorrow and I say, no, I won't, your book, I won't promote it. I'm sorry. But if you follow me, comment on my stuff, be a little bit nice to me, every now and then say, what always helps is if you say, I read 5 of your books and they are great. Your possibilities that I promote your book just like skyrocket, because everybody likes when people are nice.
Right.
You did something for me, and then I might feel obliged to do something for you, you know? So that's how it also works a little bit. So we all start small, but we can work our way up.
Yeah, I like that. And that's a really great next question, is do you have any tips for new authors on how to effectively market their books and create a compelling personal brand? As you said in the beginning, you started and nobody was interested. And now, of course, you've got a brand and people are. So how do you get from that place of nobody's really interested to, okay, now
Learn
you're building that?
advertising. Learn advertising. For me, it was all Amazon ads. So some people see lots of sales with Facebook ads. I was one of the lucky ones with Amazon ads, and it's like amazing. I started small, but I would say to every author, learn ads, study ads, learn it, do them yourself. Don't be lazy. Don't be like a spoiled artist who said, no, I only write. I need somebody else to take that. It's okay. It's natural. But if you want maximum success, take care of it, because nobody will do it as good as you. And that's the thing. Do ads, because once you do ads. So when I started with ads, so in my high times, when I had 1,200 campaigns on Amazon ads, I got 1 million impressions every day.
Wow.
You know what is 1 million impressions?
That's a lot.
That's 1 million eyes, no, 2 million eyes, so 1 million people seeing your ad every day. You don't need it. What else do you need? Like a post on Facebook that 20 people read? No. You have 1 million people on your, so that was but you can start small. But Amazon ads for me was liberating, because I didn't depend on my friends anymore. You know, our friends that we always ask to buy our books, and then they say, yes, I bought it, but then you look and nobody bought your book, and then you think Amazon is cheating you because 10 people told you they buy your book, but Amazon only shows 2 books sold, or Apple or whoever. And then you say, but my friends said they bought 10 books. But many times your friend only tell you they buy your book and don't buy it. So advertising is crucial nowadays, really. And write more books. So now we come to the second part of my journey. So everything was fine, and 30 days was selling well. And then in 2017, I noticed it's going down. I was thinking I'm making money, but I wasn't making so much money anymore. I was kind of cheating myself, not wanting to see reality. But once my numbers got so bad that I had to just face it. And then I said, what do I do next? Because it was looking again, oh God, I might have to look for a job. My books are not selling anymore. And then I studied authors that sell a lot of books, credible authors. So I did my due diligence, and I'm S.J. Scott, Steve Scott, I think is his name. Mark Dawson, I found those. They were making $10,000, $20,000 a month. Well, and then you can actually check it and see they are making it also, because when you look at their positions and everything, and I bought the courses and I studied them, and then I thought, okay, authors that sell a lot of books have 3 things in common. 1, they write many books, like 30 plus, 20, 30 plus. 2, they always have some books on a 99-cent promotion, because they don't say, it's also part of the business mindset. They don't say, oh, it's only 99 cents. I'm losing money with this book. Mm-hmm. They say, no, I get a new reader for 99 cents. And mostly, once you have the reader, they read 2 or 3 books of yours. So that's actually a very good equation. And they were heavily investing in Amazon ads, because one thing is, I tell you, I make $20,000 a month on books. That sounds amazing. But when I tell you, well, I also spent $10,000 or $11,000 in Amazon ads, then it's not so amazing anymore. But it's actually the reality. But then you say, oh, wow. So actually, I only have to learn how to spend $10,000 a month with ads, and then I can make 20,000. And that was the process. And it works, but it takes also a lot of time. So you can start small. And I said it this afternoon. So from me going from $1,000 a month to $20,000 a month, that took 17 months. 17 months, 1 hour every day on my ads, making new ads or managing ads. That's a long time still.
It is. And I think that's another really good point for people to realize is, again, one ad isn't going to get you there. It's, as you said, 17 months of being diligent and putting an hour a day of work into making sure those ads are working.
Yeah, in my last year in London, I had that slide and I counted it. That's why I know that it was 17 months. And then I asked the people, I said, who of you, and I can say it now, who of you would do the same thing over 17 months, not seeing a big change, to in month number 18 see it going from 8,000 to 20,000.
Yeah, I think that's really incredible. It's as you were saying earlier today, it's that consistency and being persistent with it. And I really love that.
It's the secret, and it's not a secret. It's so funny because today I also wrote a post on LinkedIn and I said, we're going to talk about the secrets, but I already put the secrets in Mark's, because it's like, it's not a secret. Everybody should know it by now, that consistency and persistence beats every other thing 100 times. At the end, the people who become successful, I mean, there are always exceptions. The lottery winner, the one who with the first book really sells the 200,000 books, those people are there, but they are like unicorns. But those are exceptions, those are outliers. But usually if you talk to 100 people that make 6 figures on Amazon or on Apple and everywhere, live from their books, they will all tell you the same story. They are not incredibly talented writers, although they get better because they work on their craft. They are not incredible geniuses, although they get better because they work on their craft every day. But the thing they have all in common is that they are incredibly persistent and perseverance and constance, and they just sit down every day, no matter if they are motivated or not motivated, or inspired and not inspired. It's just this, over there is the table.
And love it. That's where the work gets done.
And then that's where the work gets done. And if I'm in a good mood, great. And if I'm in a bad mood, too bad. But the writing has to get done.
Yeah. I like that idea of being consistent with even getting the writing done, because I think that, again, that's part of what you were saying about the habits and that writing habit that you established from the beginning.
At the moment I'm failing. I told you this afternoon, because I have a book, and if I was a little bit more disciplined, in 2 weeks it would be ready. But I have no plan, and I'm going like, I'm doing exactly everything you shouldn't do. But on the other hand, I can. Why? Because I can. Because I already have 30 or 50 books out there, and then you can slack a little bit and become a little bit self-complacent. But now I really told myself, now I set a deadline. Deadline is always important. Deadline is 30th of August. It has to be done. So now I can go back to my normal writing system and say, okay, tomorrow at 6 o'clock, sit down over there and write 2,000 words or 3 hours. And then it will be done like that. And this you have to do. And the successful authors, I know they do it. They write a lot more than me. They're a lot more disciplined. And that's the way it goes. And it's fantastic because you can see it. Because if others do it and it works for them, it will work for you too.
Yeah. I really like that idea of learning from that example of who it's worked for and knowing that you can apply that to your success. I think that's so incredible and important to remember. And I know you've given so much great advice, but is there one thing that you feel like these emerging authors can do to be successful as authors?
Don't give up. Don't give up. Learn ads. Be persistent. Practice gratitude. Write 20 books minimum. Start small.
That's
It's really.
I think that's so good.
That simple, really, because there's a study. There are various studies, and there's one study of written word media comes out every year, and they have it. 6-figure authors write 30 hours a week and write 30 books. Have at least written 30 books. I am even going down to 20 because the 20 books to 50K idea. Absolutely does it for me. I really think if you write 20 books, you can make a 50 to 100K, and that's it. And if you write 2 hours a day or one, it depends how many words you write and how many words your books are. My books are super simple. I'm running out of ideas because my books are 25,000 words. So
nice. I like that. It doesn't. I do want to go back to that idea, because in the very beginning you said, these self-help books, there's so much material and they're so complicated. And you were like, look, let's just simplify this and make it simple. And I think that so many writers and authors really want that big, complicated thing. I know personally, I tend to overcomplicate everything. Yeah. And I love that you're like, no, simplify.
I think it's the secret of my success, this small, short chapters. Because what it does is, and many readers write to me, they say, you are so mean. I went to bed and I wanted to read one chapter. But of course, then it's like one chapter and then another one and another one. And then 2 hours later, the book is finished. So, and that's great. When on the other hand, sometimes you want to read a chapter and it's 25 pages and you say, no, can't read 25 pages now. Just before going to bed. Now I was in a mastermind in Mallorca with some 6- and 7-figure authors, and some are already starting to do this even in fiction, writing shorter chapters. It seems to work because it's logical, because our attention span gets shorter and shorter. So yeah, so in self-help, in my books, it works like a charm. I make my chapters are 250 to 500 words, page and a half, and then I try to write
not really short.
100, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Even for fiction, I think that's a great idea. I tend to write long, and I'm like, I'm a fiction writer, but maybe if I shorten my chapters a little, I might play with that idea. So thank you. See, I've been telling everyone I got such great tips from you earlier today, and you are still just bringing them out. So I love that.
The best is you must also listen to yourself. That's what I did, you know. Mm-hmm. I'll give you 2 examples. First of all, with the small chapters, it's like I have a Japanese translator who made me write 2 books for the Japanese market, and then I write them in English, of course, and he translates them. And he wanted 100 chapters. And in the first book, Love Yourself, I could get to 100 chapters. It was good. And then he said, write a book about people relationship, the people magnet. And the process is like this. I tell him, yeah, give me 150 chapter titles, because I'm pretty good. I'm not so good. It's very difficult for me to think about chapter titles. It's very easy for me to write 200 to 500 words to any chapter title that somebody gave to me, because it's just the knowledge is just there of reading 35 years of self-help books. That's one thing. So then it was like, for the People Magnet book, he wanted 100, and at 55, I already had problems. I said, look, I can't anymore. Because when I noticed the first 30 chapters, they go wham, 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 wham. You take 2 weeks, and then for the next 10 chapters, you need 4 weeks. Something is wrong here already. Right. So he wanted 100, and I stopped at 62. I said, I'm sorry, I can't no more. 62. I have nothing more to say. I won't fill the book up with repetition just to get to 100. So that's it. Published the book in Japan. It's not a super success in Japan, but it is in India. Already 90,000 books sold in India.
Oh, wow.
And it was because I listened to myself. This guy is absolutely fantastic, my translator. But I listened to myself and I said, look, that's until here I get. I'm sorry. I tried, but it's just not making sense anymore. And I'm suffering, actually. So 62 chapters. That was one example that I wanted to do. And the other one I forgot. Too bad, because it was a really good example.
That's okay.
You have to listen to yourself. Yeah, when you... Now, look, the gratitude book. I wrote a book about gratitude. It has only 15,000 words, I think, 70 pages. And valued friends of mine, so that was one of the few times when people, really super authors, who normally don't criticize you, but they said, Mark, 70 pages, that's a little bit slim. So that could be when people could feel bullshitted. Or I said, guys, I'm sorry. This is the gratitude book. So I said it's so important for me to communicate everything I know about gratitude. I must write this book, and I know my readers will not feel cheated, because it's 70 pages full of everything I know, comes from the good heart. I just want you to convince to start with your gratitude practice, and that's it. So I had to write this book, and until now I get fantastic feedback, and I'm really, really, really happy that I put it out. It would not be the same for me if I wouldn't have put this book out, because I said in every interview I talk about gratitude. How will I not write a book about gratitude?
Right,
Well,
right.
it's also the most impactful exercise that I know. So those are the two examples. Listen to other people, but also listen to yourself most.
Yeah, I think that's so good. I think that's such an important message for people to realize that they can listen to themselves and trust themselves and their instincts. So I think those are two really good examples of how you've done that and been successful doing that. So my next question, you shared a fantastic testimonial for Publish Drive earlier this year. Could you tell our audience about how Publish Drive has helped you and why you recommend us?
You guys just make everything so much easier. I mean, I'm not even using all the things, because I just saw you even have the formatting and everything. I mean, if I would have started before, I would probably have done everything with you, because it just takes so much work from me. But I came later. So I started with 6 books. I loved my results. So now I'm upped my plan to 18 books. If I was a newbie author, I would give you everything: ebooks, audio, and paperback. Right now, because it's then everything in one place. Right now, I'm directly in Ingram. I'm directly with my audiobooks and Findaway, but I don't discard that. Maybe in the future for new projects, I just do all the stuff with you, because it's just, I mean, easy. And of course, for me, I'm biased because I'm in Budapest, where your company offices are. I know the CEO, Kinga. So whenever there would be a problem, I know I would find somebody to talk to. But I think you have a pretty good desk, like help desk, because this is very important. And so what I like most about you guys is it's very easy to get in touch, and you treat us authors like partners. And this is a very good feeling when you come from another place that lately doesn't treat the authors so well. They just treat you like a number or whatever, or a bot kicks you out or whatever. So, and communication, and when you have a problem, the problem has to be solved. That's the most important thing. And also, so if something gets flagged, I appreciate when the beginning conversation is to me like a human and not like a criminal,
Right,
like
right.
Innocent until proven guilty, not the other way around. So they're sure you made something bad. And that's what I like in the relationship with you and other providers also. So
yeah, thank you. That's really good feedback, and I appreciate you sharing that, because it's so important to hear from people who are being successful and realize that, again, that success is available to everyone else.
And you pay punctual, which is also fantastic, because my publishers, I have some publishers for translation rights, they pay when they want. And so it's also very nice for authors. Everyone that pays on time is welcome in our life.
Yep, you have to pay those bills, have to eat.
Yep.
So finally, before we end today, I just am curious what you're working on now. And also, I definitely want you to let our viewers know where they can find you and how to stay in touch, and where to get your books, because I will tell you right now, my Amazon cart is open, and I've been sneaking some things by Marc Reklau into that cart.
Push the buy now button.
yeah.
While we're on it. No, so first project, I'm working on a money book. Also, it will be a simple book and down to earth, how I came from being jobless to creating some little fortune and still working on it. So there are many good tips. So that's I'm going to finish until the end of August, I think. I don't have a title yet, but that's not a problem because I have time until August. So usually it comes up. And then Marc Reklau, there's only one Marc Reklau with a C in the world. Really, that's fantastic, because when you go to Google and put my name, I come up everywhere. Also in LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. But my favorite way of communicating is actually email. I'm that old school. So mark@markreklau.com. I pride myself in answering every email, except if you ask me for money or if you are rude, then you might not get an answer. But people who are nice get nice answers. And usually it's when the longer the email, the longer I take to answer, because I'm actually reading them and want to answer them properly. And then it's easier sometimes to answer the short ones, and then the long ones go back. But that's that. Yeah. So I'm everywhere. And
yeah, that's great. I love that. So hopefully our viewers will take advantage of that, because like I said, I've already got some of your books in my cart. So I'll be ordering some here once we are finished today. Does anyone who's watching have any questions or anything? Earlier today, we had some really good questions. And Marc is great about answering them. So if you do have a question, this is a great opportunity to get some feedback and hear from someone who is a successful. So yeah, I have personally really enjoyed having this opportunity to chat with you, and obviously I get to ask my questions and talk to you about all of that, because as I said, I was really impressed with your talk at SPS Live in London. It was fantastic, and every time I talk to you, I get something really good that I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this and put this into practice, because
that's the most important thing. Put it into practice. Yeah, that's the most important thing. That's how you change lives. So I've studied a lot about this, because it's always, we go to the seminar or we go to the talk, to the conference, and they really inspire us. And then normally on Wednesday, we are back to our old ways if we don't do anything. But if we take something, one little thing, and put it in action, that's when things start to change. That's when I read a book, I always try to take some points and put them right in action, or when I see a talk or whatever, because that is what causes change when you start practicing it. Yeah.
I like that. See, one more thing I am going to take away from this talk is when I read a book, I'm going to say, what is one thing that I can put into action? So that's really valuable advice. Like I said, I'm getting so much from this, and I just so appreciate you being with us today twice.
Same here.
And staying up past your bedtime even. So very, very wonderful.
I will turn it off and then shower and go to bed.
Yes. I love that. That's great. Mustafa says, this has been a wonderful session. I am so grateful for the insights shared. Thank you. And
thank you, Mustafa.
Thank you for being here, Mustafa. We really appreciate that you're here and got to gain so much from this, because it's one of these things I definitely will come back to. I was telling Marc before this started, I actually had the morning session and I went right into a leadership meeting at work, and I told everyone there I got so much from it. But since I'm leading it, I can't really sit here and take notes. So I'm going to have to go back and watch it again so I could take notes, because it's really great info.
Funny, we didn't talk about the 80-20. I don't know why, because at the 80-20 rule, which is a good, let's say, a last tip while we have a little bit of time for the writers, 80-20. So the 80-20 rule says that 20% of your effort creates 80% of your results. So actually, instead of making 100% effort, you can actually only, if you find the 20% that create the 80%, you are done, and you're saving 80% of time. And that's how I got incredibly productive. And I can find this everywhere. So in my books, 20% of my books make 80% of my income, more or less. So it's 8 books, and I have like 50 products. So I only focus on my 8 books, because the 42 books, which would be a lot of work, it's not worth it, because they are not bringing so much money. So the 80-20 rule is fantastic for you to become more productive. Look at it at your books. I see it also in my ads. 20% of my ads make 80% of my income. Also 20% of my ads spend 80% of my budget. And like this, I could hone down my real work time a lot, because now I don't have to look all of my ads. I just look on the that spend 80% of the ads, and I look at the 20% that make 80% of my money, which are probably of 200 ads. Yeah, it's probably even a 10 or 15%. So it's actually, I have 200 campaigns, and actually 15 campaigns bring 80% of the money. So what a saving of time if I only have to look at those 15 and not at 200.
Right. And I remember you said in London, you actually turned off some of those ads that weren't contributing to that 80-20 rule.
I turned off all my ads.
Were successful doing it.
Yes, I turned off all my ads, and then because Amazon booted me for a mistake, and then I turned it back on, and I only turned 10% back on. And those were, of course, my best ads of the best ads of the best ads. And by now, funnily, those bring the same money. I'm actually making more money now, net, because I'm spending less. I'm also earning less, but I'm spending much less. And it's amazing. So it seems that of this 90% of the ads that I turn off, also a lot of were like competing with each other or whatever. But it's fantastic, yeah. So the 80-20 rule, and it works everywhere. Before we talked, it works in my house. When I lived in a 100 square meter house, and I found out I'm actually spending 80% of my time in 20 square meters. So that helped me in my decision to move to a boat, because I said, okay, if I have 30, 40 square meters, which are 300 or 400 square feet, that's enough for me. Because even in my big house, I'm always on the same
right room. Yeah, and we talked about that, because I was saying the same thing. I live in a big house, but I only use a couple of my rooms, so why am I in a big house?
And if you, for example, if you're budgeting it, or if you're looking at your money, at your spendings, I'm sure that 20% of your things stay for 80% of your spendings, but probably rent or mortgage, car.
Right.
When you want to do savings, you do them there, because those 20% bring 80%. So it's really this. It's amazing. It's an amazing.
It is amazing. It is,
and you will find it everywhere, and it will help you.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's really, really a great principle. So I'm glad you did bring it up, because you're right. Like I had told you before we started, I actually took that idea into this meeting that we had right after. So it's really powerful and valuable that even for, I know we're all writers here, but for those of you who want to share this with a non-writer friend, this applies to every aspect of your life. This is something you can apply to everything. And I think that's what makes it so valuable.
And for example, the books I brought to you to publish, right? Because I started with 6 ebooks, right? And of course, those are 6 of the 8 books that make 80%. Logical. Why should I give I said, okay, I'm going to try this with Publish Drive. So I'm going to give my best-selling books there and see what they can do. Because because if I would give you some of the backlist, it would be a total different how do you say, result. So and it works also. And I'm always happy with Publish Drive, because I'm not even fully using the promotion tools, because I'm already happy with my sales. But when I start using your promotion tools and running Facebook ads to the Apple Store and Google and whatever, this will be even more fun.
Right. Yeah, I think that will be really great to see what those results are, so we can see and track and see how that goes. We do have someone from Oman saying hi. It is 00:53 hours here. Thank you for this talk.
Thanks for staying up.
Inspiring and so motivating. So
fantastic.
Yeah, so we have another person staying up late with you. So that
even later,
Yeah. So thank you for being here. Thank everyone really for being here. And I really hope that you'll talk to us and send us a note and let us know how it's going for you and how you've been applying these principles, because I think that really all of the stuff that Marc has talked about today is a game changer for every author. And I personally am really excited to see how that's going to be game changing for me as well. So we really appreciate you.
Keep on doing these things, so that I'm also, because when you stop working, you can go down pretty quickly. So I have to keep doing this stuff too. And it's always good. Things like our webinar remind me of my little mistakes and things that I have to improve. So it also helps me. It's fantastic. I
Yes,
hear
yes.
myself
And now
talking. Yeah.
I'm now looking forward to seeing that book on Publish Drive very soon.
Yep. August. End of
Yes,
August.
the end of August. So we'll
And I
have to
probably
see
give
where that
you
is.
the ebook and the paperback, and then we see about the audio. I still have to think.
Yeah, that's going to be really, really great. So thank you again. Thank you everyone for coming today. And we will do another webinar real soon. So for those of you watching the replay, who maybe didn't get to see the whole thing, there are going to be replays. We will post these so that you can watch these at your leisure and just be reminded of a lot of these great principles. So feel free to share that with your friends as well.
Thanks.
All right, great. Thank
soon.
you.